Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Seven Psychopaths. And this movie is directed by Martin McDonagh, the same director as In Bruges, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and The Banshees of Inisherin. And these are all movies that I really love and honestly could watch at any point. And this was the one movie that I hadn't reviewed yet, and this movie came out in 2012. And I have seen this movie before, and I remember enjoying it. And it was like a few years ago. I can't remember specifically when, but I liked it quite a bit. And compared to Martin McDonagh's other movies, just kind of a bit messier and not as engaging for me overall. It didn't work for me as well as his other movies that I just showed you, but still very enjoyable. But overall, people do consider this to be his worst movie, and I do agree with them at this point in time, at least. Out of the four that I've seen, and he hasn't made many movies, he's only directed four movies as of late. And I am looking forward to his next movie, Wild Horse 9, I think it's going to be called. Can't wait for that to come out. But anyways, going back to Seven Psychopaths, I did love the tone of the movie. It captures exactly what I would want from one of his movies, and I like that it's a dark comedy, and the comedy was very well written and funny, and the acting was mostly great, and has a great cast. Colin Farrell was really enjoyable in this movie, and gives a great performance and has a lot to work with and is a very interesting character to watch. Christopher Walken I liked in this movie a lot, and Woody Harrelson was great in it too, and Sam Rockwell, in my opinion, stole the show. He was so great in this movie and brought so much energy to it, and I can't believe that he's the same guy who's in Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and they feel like different people. And without spoiling it, he plays a character who's very high energy. And there are some things that I could say about his character, but I don't want to spoil anything. And the movie looked pretty nice overall. Lots of great shots in this movie. There wasn't any moment where I felt as though it looked particularly bad in any scene, in terms of how things were framed, at the very least. And the pacing moved along pretty well. I didn't feel as though the movie was dragging at any point, and the music itself wasn't bad in this film either. I felt as though it stood out and wasn't completely cynical to like movies that we've seen in this time period. I was like, oh, this is just what you would expect in this time period, and just not even try. But in this movie, it definitely didn't drag the movie down. I can say that much about it. And I definitely enjoyed the plot of the movie, not only in execution, but also conceptually. There's something very funny to me about how things get started and where they ultimately take things. And while not a whole lot happens in this movie, I do feel as though what they managed to do with the just under 2 hour runtime pretty well, and they didn't really run out of ideas really quickly. And there's lots of memorable and great scenes, and I do like the story that Colin Farrell is writing, and with him being a writer but also an alcoholic, and what they managed to do with that is pretty interesting to me. And it's ultimately just building to things which I don't really want to get into. The protagonist characters are great, and I do like the antagonist characters, and lots of stuff that I liked, and I do like the stories that the movie is writing about and mentioning. Those were fun to me, and ultimately, like, the ending stuff was fun. That stuff I really liked, and the dog, quote-unquote, borrowing business was pretty funny to me. And to get into some issues with this movie, the practical and visual effects in this movie, while not always terrible, they just didn't really feel like they were a part of the environment. Like, a character would just cut off a guy's arm with, like, barely moving their blade, and it just didn't feel, like, authentic to me. That's just one example, but it was kind of just, like, exaggerated and unbelievable at times. It just felt a little too cartoonish for my liking. And also, I did feel as though there were certain characters in this movie that were underdeveloped, like the girlfriend character. I felt could have had more screen time and develop her out a bit more. to make you care about that relationship, but ultimately it just doesn't really go anywhere and didn't need to be there. Not saying that things don't matter with our main characters' relationships, but there are some things that just didn't have as much of impact as they probably should have. Overall, this movie worked for me, but out of everything that the director Martin McDonagh has made that I've seen at this point, this one was just the one I was invested in the least. I was fully engaged when Sam Rockwell was on screen, and I liked when the other characters were on screen, but there were some moments where I was like, okay, it's not as compelling to me when Sam Rockwell is not on screen. Not saying that I was bored, I'm just saying that there are some parts that kind of stick out to me as a little weaker. But overall, I still really enjoyed this movie and would definitely recommend it. Not as good as In Bruges, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, or The Banshees of Inisherin, but still really enjoyable, and I liked it overall and would definitely rewatch it. There's some really great moments in this movie that I will definitely be thinking about, and I'll rewatch it at some point in my life. So with all that being said, I'm going to give 7 Psychopaths an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of 7 Psychopaths, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for The Greatest Show on Earth. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.